My name is Rhapsody, his name is Reto of Retromation, and welcome back to Enter the Gungeon races. Or Reto and Rhaps race the same maps? Is that it?
Same map. I think so. It's gone through a lot of things. It could just be Reto and Rhaps Race to Love. It could be anything.
It could be anything and everything. Frankly, I've forgotten the title because it's been a while. How's it been, bud?
It's been a while. Who are you, by the way?
Sorry. I'm Reto from Retromation, and you're Rhaps.
Okay. Rhaps of Rhapsody. nice to meet you. So Enter the Gungeon.
I can tell we're going to be the best of friends. Would you like to count us down to run into the run?
Wait, are you giving me an accent? Hold on. I thought I heard a different accent come out of your mouth for a second. I was like,
no, okay. It's just an affectation.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo!
Oh my goodness. Do you? I feel like I have heard it before. Do you consider yourself to have a good American accent?
It depends on the American accent. I feel like I can do like a couple of American idiolects. So like I can do a couple of specific American voices, but I can't do like general Pan-American or like especially Southern accents. I started out my Atomicrop series by doing kind of like a roughneck kind of voice.
I think that's probably why I was thinking about it, to be honest, because I did hear that. Yeah, that's probably why it was in my mind.
I felt like that one was like decent, or at least it got more decent over the course of it. I wouldn't really have anything to compare it to because I don't interact with many Americans. I think it's just yourself and Alexa, actually.
I feel like it's for me it's pretty much it's Grace and Alexa. It's the only Americans I interact with too, and then sometimes when I go to the gas station.
Totally fair. Do you have a good Australian accent?
No. Here's the thing. I am terrified to do accents for many reasons. First of all, I don't want, and I don't think this is a good reason. I think this is a bad reason. I don't want to offend anyone, because I don't. If I do a bad job, I'm afraid that it's offensive.
Yep.
Like I'm afraid that if I try and I do a bad job, that they'll be like, "Oh, you're trying to do a character. You're making fun of this thing," or So I'm afraid to.
I think that kind of gets invoked when you do specific, like, very, very stereotypical things in the accent. One of my favorite rules when playing drinking games is to institute a rule where, like, everyone has to talk in an accent. But I can't do that in certain groups of people, not friends, but groups of people, because I know that there will be some person who's like, I am going to do the most racist accent I can.
Yeah. Here comes the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, like, I just feel like there's so much to know about so many cultures that I'm afraid that I'm terrified that I'm accidentally that person, Mm-hmm. I'm terrified. I mean, I'm not that person because I don't do accents, but I'm afraid that if I tried, I'd be like, oh, shoot, I didn't realize this thing that I, picked up is actually makes me a hardcore racist. Whoops. Didn't realize, I don't know. I just don't try. It's always easier. Someone says, do you want to do an accent? I say, nope.
That's totally fair. I encountered that same kind of thing in my Undermine stream because I was specifically like soliciting, hey, give me like a specific kind of voice and I'll do it for this character. And there were enough things in chat that I was like, you know that I can't do that. You know that that's specifically a bad idea. Why did you ask for that one?
Yeah. And I don't know. And it's not like, I mean, obviously I don't think ill of people doing accents. Otherwise I wouldn't be like, oh, do you have an American accent? Or anything like that. I think overly sensitive, overly worried about pleasing people or accidentally displeasing people.
I mean, your phrasing is a negative, overly sensitive, overly worried. I would say conscientious.
Yeah, I do think it can get, for myself, I've noticed over the years that it can get comedically too far at times, though. At times. And I think it's good to recognize too.
Yeah.
Well, it's something I like about myself a lot, and I would never want to change being conscientious. Sometimes, a little look doesn't mean the person hates you, you know? So sometimes them, you know, like they have a slight smile. Maybe it means they thought it was funny, not they think you're stupid, you know? Reading too heavily.
I had my first session with a new psych recently, and she was asking kind of like generally about what I do, about the relationships that I have in my life. And then as soon as I finished listing them, she was like, okay, and you're scared that these people don't like you, despite the fact that that's clearly, obviously not true? I was like, yeah, but they would care about my feelings in a way that they would lie to me about liking me to my face, and then they don't other than that. Which, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, that's absurd.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, and it always is. It's like, what am I saying? You know, it just takes, like, in the moment, you know, your brain's not, it's not, in your head, it's not formulating it out in those sentences that make sense. It's you know, it's putting it in the way that, like, the words are all scrambled and it's got buzzwords. It's like, when you're talking to yourself in the moment, it's like skimming headlines of news articles, you know?
And also, like, there's the fallibility of memory as well. Like, the third time I remember the conversation, it went way worse than it did the second time, the first time, or when it was actually had.
Yeah, you're playing telephone with yourself, or whatever the Australian equivalent of the childhood game telephone is.
Telephone. We have a this is something that I encountered, I want to say about a year ago, where we have a different name for telephone, and I said it, and then I went, wait a second, that's really racist. Because I just didn't think about it.
Yeah, why are all the childhood games also racist? Like, I don't know. Like all the songs and games, they're like, the root of them is always so dark. It's like, I don't know. It's
people
like
dying of the plague. In the Ring of Roses as well?
Yeah, Ring of Roses. Rosie. Wait, ashes, they all fall down? Hold on. Ring around the Rosie. I know it.
Pocket full of posies
I
as well,
forgot
by the way,
it
bud.
because I stand against it.
Oh.
I forgot it out of to take a stance.
Not a big fan of the bubonic plague?
Is anybody?
I'm sure there's at least one person who's like, damn.
Okay. I heard something the other day, and it put me into a state of moral disarray. And I must float it because, and I thought about it because you said, is anybody for the bubonic plague? Somebody, and you said somebody probably is, and that makes me think. I heard the other day, and first of all, it's gonna sound bad, but don't think that I'm saying this to the comments. Don't think that I support what I'm saying. Let me say it first. So, you know what? Okay, I feel awful already. You know how not all dogs find homes? Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah?
This is I put myself in a hole. Never mind.
The only way you can do this is to dig straight through.
All right. Okay. So you know how all dogs don't find homes, and some of them cannot stay in the pound or Earth anymore.
Yeah.
And how, oh God, this is literally Satan talking. And you know how, you know, there's a food problem, right?
Is this one of those situations where you're like, we have two problems where we could just have a solution to both?
It is, but the situation is like, and I'm sure you know that, like, I'm not gonna be like, let's eat these dogs, y'all, but especially because I don't even eat meat, so it's like I'm extra, but it's like they're not, you know, they're not going anywhere else.
I mean,
and so morally, you're like, I guess.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I do understand the argument that it's less of a moral evil to eat a dog than it is to have someone starve to death. But there's such cultural baggage around like the sacred cowardness of dogs. And I agree specifically with that as well, by the way.
Yeah. I would never eat a dog. But I hear that and I'm like, I understand your point, you know? Like, I literally do understand what you're saying. And it's like the bubonic plague. Like, somebody defended that. And I was like, okay, how can you defend eating dogs? And they set up this scenario. And I'm like, I guess that does make sense, but I hate it.
I mean, I'm sure you could be able to find like almost any way to justify almost anything given a specific hypothetical for it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you should mention dogs because so over the past week, I've been real ill. And it's just been like adding to stress a lot. And when there's enough stress in my body, it just like escapes through my tear ducts. Like I'll be like normally totally fine having a conversation and they'll just like bust a valve and it just starts flowing. And in particular, what would happen is every single time while I was every single time while I was dummy ass thick, I would just be thinking of dogs and I would start crying because it's like, I really want a dog.
Oh man.
I've been thinking about nothing but dogs for a whole week.
Heavily relate. I don't know why I was having a bad week, and I was having such a bad week, like that we just went to some falls, like just nice nature place, and I was just still really sad there. And then my girlfriend's cousin was with us and said, you know, my friend has a bunch of new husky puppies that need a home. So I was like, it's time to get a husky. Like we almost did. And it's like, it's kind of the reverse of that. Like you were sad because of dogs and I was dogs because of sad.
Yeah, it was actually a perfect inverse. I didn't know if that was going to work as you initially proposed it, but it did.
Oh boy. But then I ate those dogs, so it's not good.
Well, I mean, you were hungry. You had to.
They didn't have anywhere to go.
It wouldn't have been morally acceptable not to, frankly. You don't want to waste food. Yeah. I mean, what is the worst moral evil, right? Desecration of a corpse or wasting food.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just, I don't know. And I was playing with a thought in my head, and I was like going even deeper. And it's like, okay, like we don't eat dogs, we do eat cows. And this is not like a vegetarian like type story question. This is a moral question. Like there's a cow that is completely healthy right there, and you can kill it for food and eat it. Or there is a dog that is literally like going to be put down. There's nothing wrong with it, and you can eat that one instead. And I'm like, I hate this scenario that I put myself in hypothetically.
I gotta be honest, I know it's wrong, but I'm choosing the cow every single time. There's no way.
Me too. But isn't that evil? Me too. But I don't know. So I've been thinking about that.
I mean, like, I'm also thinking in general, like, of Southeast Asian cultures where the cow is sacred and would hold, like, a closer to the cultural standard. I mean, I literally referred to a dog as a sacred cow earlier in certain cultures, right?
Yeah.
And it probably directly relates to the culture you're from as to which of those you can justify.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know.
Which doesn't necessarily make either of those stances correct over one another, by the way. Just gonna slide that in there for anyone who's about to say, I can't believe you would say that.
Yeah. I don't know. What hell hath I wrought upon my comment section today? Another day, another dog eater, Reto. I don't want to eat the dog, everybody. I'm literally saying I would rather be evil than eat the dog, because eating dogs in my head is evil. I don't know. But
I would never be able to forgive myself.
Exactly. I would cry every night. I would eat myself first. Like, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, because you've got the memory from when you're 8 that you're so guilty over. I do not believe that you would be able to survive.
No. I'm still so mad at myself. Why did I not just appreciate that I got Pokemon Gold instead of Silver, you know? They're the same game. They're the same game, you dummy kid.
I mean, but Lugia is so much cooler than her.
He
so.
is, though. She should have known. She should have known. She should have looked at the packages and known. You're right. You're right. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right.
So this run's just been autopiloting in the background. Are we on the same floor right now?
That depends on what floor you're on.
Floor 4?
Yeah, I'm on floor 4.
Oh, sweet.
No lies. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I lied.
Ah, it's good pacing here, though.
It's true.
I gotta be entirely honest.
What part of the 4th floor?
Like 15 rooms in.
Oh, okay.
I gotta be entirely honest. I really want to become a vegetarian. But
Okay.
meat is so much of my diet already.
Let me hit you with the sweet thing that no vegetarian will ever say for some reason.
What's that?
You don't have to only be a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah, I'd be a pescatarian in particular because, like, screw fish. They're polluting the oceans.
Even further. Even further. The first 2 years of me, like, moving towards it, I ate meat when I like, every time meat was there, what I told myself is this a special occasion? Or, like, does this make me happy, like, every single time? And I slowly just became full vegetarian, but it was never my plan. I slowly became it. Every time I would ask myself, is this worth it? Like, is this special? Like, is it special today? More special than, you know, whatever thing you choose, the life, the animal, the health, the whatever your reason for doing it is. Is it more special than that? And slowly, like, it took me like a full year probably before I just stopped. You can just be like a lot of people are doing, you know, just one day a week vegetarian, you know?
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
No, people are too hung up on labels. Like, who cares? Like, why? Who's the vegetarian police? Who's the vegan police? Who's like coming to everybody's house saying, "You ate meat today"? It's like, who cares if your goal is like morally you want to, whatever, you know, harm the earth less, kill less.
That's actually mine.
Whatever the thing is. Yeah, whatever your reason for it is. If you're doing it less, you're still doing it less. You don't need to do it all the way so that you have a label that means nothing.
That's totally fair.
I don't know.
It's a good way of thinking about it. I should probably just, like, gradually buy fewer and fewer meat products as I'm preparing meals and such.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something, I'd be like, I hate talking about the fact that I'm a vegetarian because it's such a trope that everyone who's vegetarian or vegan and wants to push everybody to be it. But I only said something because you said you already wanted to be. I hate to be a
I
pusher.
specifically incited this conversation. Also, I specifically incited the conversation with the hope that you would be able to convince me.
I mean, the thing is, I think that it'll be way easier to convince yourself if you just slowly started to do it. Like, because the thing is, like, if you do it one day a week, you'll probably notice that you feel good about yourself on that day, and you'll probably like just start to do it more. Or being a vegetarian is not for you and you won't feel good on that day. You'll just be like, I miss meat, and that's fine too. And then you took a chance and you figured it out, and you know.
Yeah, I think I would be able to live with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I as a kid, I was like, my sister was a vegetarian growing up. I was not, and I was like, I told my sister, I was like, I have no idea what's wrong with you. I would never do this. And now I'm a vegetarian, and my sister's not.
So the amount of vegetarians in the world, specifically from your family, has remained static.
Yeah, or she goes in flux. She goes in flux. Sometimes she is, sometimes she's not. And I think that's fine. And like, I don't know, people, like, whatever vegan vegetarian culture of people being all or nothing is stinky. You know, like, just yeah. If here's the thing, I probably accidentally ate meat too. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah,
I didn't lose my license.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not like they're gonna come and take your powers away, a la Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, exactly. That's not real, and more importantly, it doesn't undo all of the meals I ate that were vegetarian. It's all about percentages. I don't know. That's the most I've talked about being a vegetarian on my channel since I started it.
I'm glad to have incited it, frankly.
Yeah. If there's anywhere that would be the place, it would be here. The place where we aren't really playing Enter the Gungeon.
Not really. It's just gradually occurring in the background. I think basically Enter the Gungeon is just a loading screen for us while the conversation occurs.
It's true. It's the rice of the meal, you know? It's just it's there. It's there. It's the vessel to move the more interesting flavors in. That being said, Enter the Gungeon just gave me a steamy, spicy, disgusting flavor called giving me 7-leaf clover on the forge, you hooligan of a game.
So this game has like a soft system by which it doesn't repeat items in subsequent runs, right?
I think so. I don't know how much that is the case and how much it's just like I know that early on when you unlocked an item, they tried to give it to you. I know that was the case. I don't know how much behind the scenes stuff there is though, but I think so. Yeah.
So you've effectively just screwed a couple of your next runs. Enjoy.
That's okay. I don't need this game to be any easier.
Good point, well made. Speaking of this game being easier, or rather easy and Gungeon, how have you been finding the difficulty of Atomic Rhaps?
I feel like it's hard for me to say because, and I was talking about this in a different way earlier, but it's hard for me to say because I have 1,050 hours in Enter the Gungeon, and then I played Atomic Rhaps. So I'm like, I am not the norm. You are not the norm for like the audience going in. So I feel like I say it feels too easy on year 1, and they say they want to add more years. Feels too easy. If I can beat it in 3, I beat it on my 3rd episode.
Damn.
And if I can do that, that's a problem if there's no other extra content yet. So it feels too easy.
Yeah.
But they're gonna add more difficulty, so it's I feel like it's unfair for me to comment on it in 2 ways.
That's exactly actually the way that I spoke about it in my series as well, which is I said, okay, like a lot of these bosses are really, really easy, but I'm speaking from a position of privilege, having, a ridiculous amount of time in games similar to this. I don't want it to become unplayable for people who are new to this as a genre. Yeah,
the game won't get popular if somebody like has no chance. It's because it's an especially weird game because we talk about how like all these roguelikes and everything are like, it's like Binding of Isaac, but Yahtzee, and everything like that. But it's like literally Nuclear Throne plus a farming game, and not in a meshed way necessarily. It is the most, you're literally playing 2 games when you play that game, I feel like. And if someone is not good at one of those games, they're going to be locked out, if it's too hard.
I mean,
because you have to farm, otherwise you won't get enough money to be good at the other thing.
That's true, but I do think that they have the ability in the different things that they offer you, and especially the different relationships they offer you, to cover your weaknesses.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Who'd you first marry, by the way?
Strengths. Whoever offered me a health container first. I think it was the attacker. I don't know their names. Yes.
Ruin Borage.
I did finish my run just now, by the way.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. I've just killed Block. Now I'm dead. Well, I'm not dead, but run is over. Oh, I was 3 rooms from the boss. I like when these episodes end when we're both on the boss at the same time, that kind of thing. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep going if you're only 3 rooms away. Feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I have...
finish our talk on Atomicrops.
Yeah, let's do that, because I got the Evolver that's fully leveled up, so it's not going to take long.
Yeah, go right ahead. Then I can get off the screen and sing the music. But yeah, it's hard for me. Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about the difficulty of it in a position of privilege. And it's the same. Like I got the, I answer my questions in my Gungeon videos. I got a question from someone that just straight up said, "I have played for 50 hours and have not beat the Dragon. Is that bad?"
No.
And I was like, that is so subjective. I said, to me, no. It's you have no idea what the person, like, if you watch me and you see that I beat it in whatever, I can't remember however many episodes it took, but I played a lot of roguelikes. I played a lot of bullet hell games. I played so many games like this. While I had 0 hours in Gungeon, I had 1,000 hours in Gunjish right beforehand. Yeah. So it's unfair. It's unfair. Who's to say? The only thing is, like, if you beat the if you want to beat the Dragon and then you eventually beat the Dragon, you did good. Who cares how long it took? That's how long it took you at, your skill level. That's how long it took you. It's just as impressive. In fact, maybe more impressive because you had tenacity. I find tenacity and willingness to keep on coming back in the face of adversity more impressive.
Not only more impressive, but like that's a better marker of long-term success.
Also, it's more fun. It's a better story too. It's like, curse my talent is what I'm saying. No, I think it's people get too hung up on it, and gatekeepers facilitate a nasty culture around it. Being like, I don't know, with games like this, where it's like, I could not imagine how sad I would have to be at 1,050 hours to scour Gungeon forums telling people how bad they are for not beating it after 20 hours or 50 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
That's so sad. So sad. Why not? Like, you play a game for 1,000 hours. Guess what? You like that game. Try to let other people like it too, or you maybe encourage people to like it. You dang dingus.
I've never understood that kind of, like, I am so interested in this thing that you're not allowed to be.
Yes, I like it more than you ever could. Don't touch it. It's not for you. You're not good enough for this. Because I'm afraid, they don't say this, I'm afraid subconsciously, if you start this, you'll prove that you can get to where I am too, and it just was a matter of skill, and I'm not a special boy.
There might be some level of that operating, actually. But that's the end of my run. I'm back in the breach as well.
Well, I'm happy you're here.
Yeah. Congratulations on your success in this episode. And the next one, I'm just calling your shot for you. For the moment, though, my name is Rhapsody.
Man.
His name has been Reto of Retromation. That's links in the description down below. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Next time. Bye.